I found a tampon in my husband's car, and for a second, I wished, honestly, desperately wished, it was just because he was cheating on me. That would have been easier. More explainable. Something the kids could maybe someday understand. But what actually happened? It twisted my stomach into knots I still haven't untangled. My name's Lauren, 29. I'd been married to Jack for 4 years, together for 7, and I would have sworn on anything, our wedding album, our daughter's birth certificates, that I knew this man. I thought we were solid. We had our rituals, grocery runs every Sunday, movie nights with pizza on Fridays, the kind of life where you learn to sync your moods without even speaking. He always joked that we were still in the honeymoon phase, even with 2 kids and 4 years of diapers behind us. So I never would have questioned anything, until last month. We were heading out to daycare, and I was strapping our toddler into her car seat when I saw something wedged deep in the back seat cushion. Just the corner of something pink, sticking out like a secret. I reached in, assuming it was one of those endless wrappers kids always seem to generate. But the second I touched it, I froze. I knew that shape. It was a tampon. Still in the wrapper. At first, I just stood there, holding it like it had burned me. Bright plastic against gray upholstery. You might think, okay, no big deal, right? Except I've had an IUD for over a year now, no periods. And even back when I did, I never used that brand. Ever. That's what made my stomach turn. I didn't say anything until that night. Jack was at the kitchen island scrolling through fantasy football stats while reheating leftover spaghetti. I walked up and set the tampon on the counter in front of him like it was Exhibit A in a trial. "What's this?" He looked at it, then up at me, like I was speaking another language. A tampon? I found it in your car. In the back seat. Between the cushions." His eyebrows pulled together, then shot up. "Oh. That's probably Fiona's," he said with a shrug. "She must have dropped it the other day when we grabbed lunch." Just like that. No awkward pause, no wait, what? Just casual. Dismissive. Like I'd asked him where the remote was. Fiona. His co-worker. Married. Friendly. Harmless. Except now I was picturing her sitting in that back seat. My back seat. In the spot where our daughter's car seat goes. I wasn't sure what I expected him to say, but it definitely wasn't that. Still, I tried to believe him. We were all friends, Jack, Fiona, her husband Mike, me. We'd had barbecues together, exchanged birthday gifts, shared countless late-night vent sessions about parenting and life. I'd even confided in her. I reminded myself that maybe it really was nothing. Maybe it fell out of her purse. Maybe Jack truly didn't think twice. But something itched at the base of my skull. A week later, while we were out shopping, I faked a girl emergency and asked Fiona casually if she had a tampon. She reached into her bag and handed me one. The exact same brand. The same wrapper. I laughed. Out loud. Relieved. Silly, almost. Mystery solved. Until this morning. I opened my sock drawer and found another one. Same kind. Different size. Just sitting there like a ticking bomb. We don't keep tampons in that drawer. I didn't put it there. My kids don't know what they are. And Jack? Jack isn't clueless enough to accidentally move one from the car to my drawer. That was when my stomach dropped in a way it hadn't before. Because suddenly this wasn't about infidelity. It was about intent. Tampons don't walk themselves into drawers. And whoever put that there, if someone did, wanted me to find it. And that's when I realized something I never thought I'd say out loud. I wasn't sure what scared me more, that my husband was cheating on me. Or that he wasn't. After that second tampon showed up, tucked neatly between my ankle socks and a straight pair of mittens, I couldn't sleep. Not properly. My brain started eating itself alive with questions. Was Fiona messing with me? Was Jack covering for someone else? Was I losing my mind? I didn't confront him right away. I couldn't. Every time I opened my mouth, I imagined him saying something that would shatter what little was left of our normal. Instead, I told my sister. We sat cross-legged on her carpet while our kids played in the next room, and I spilled everything. The car. The drawer. Fiona's tampon. My husband's deadpan reaction. She didn't even blink. That's not normal, Lauren. That's someone either screwing your husband, screwing with you, or both. That night, she came over. We went through everything, my drawers, the glove box, the diaper bag. We even compared the tampon Fiona gave me with the one I'd just found. They were the same brand, same packaging style. Just different absorbencies. We both sat there staring at them like they were evidence bags on a cold case board. I swear to God, my sister whispered, if I find one in your cereal box tomorrow, I'm calling the cops. We laughed, but it was nervous. Dry. Because the truth was already pressing its claws into us. Still, I didn't have real proof. No one to confront. Just a gut full of dread and a trail of sanitary breadcrumbs leading nowhere. Cameras felt like overkill. My sister disagreed. She even offered to buy them. Install them while he's at work, she said. If nothing happens, we uninstall. But if it does... The only reason I didn't do it right then was because I didn't want to believe I needed to. But then came the onesie. Our youngest had been sick, just a cold, nothing scary, but clingy and miserable, the kind of toddler who only wants snuggles and apple slices. I had meetings that week, so Jack offered to stay home with her. He insisted, actually. Said it was no problem, he could take some calls from home. I was grateful. Touched even. Maybe this was a sign things were fine. Until I walked through the door Thursday evening and froze. She was dressed in a full-length pink onesie with silver snap buttons, exactly the kind I had stopped buying after she turned one. Too much hassle. The kind Jack knew I hated. And in her hair was a tiny blue bow. A clip-on. I had never seen either item before in my life. Now, Jack doesn't shop for our kids. He doesn't dress them in anything that doesn't come folded in the laundry basket. And he definitely doesn't do hair. So I asked him, "Where'd that outfit come from?" He looked up from the stove, blinking like I just asked him what year it was. "What? Oh, I think that was in the drawer?" "No, it wasn't." He shrugged. "I dunno. Maybe from daycare?" "She hasn't been to daycare all week, Jack." He was quiet for a beat too long. Then, "Lauren, you're being kind of intense. It's just a onesie." But that wasn't just a onesie. That was someone else's touch. A woman's touch. On my daughter. Something cold and slick slid down my spine. I pressed him again. "Anyone stop by? Drop off food? Visit the girls?" "Nope," he said. "Just us. Calm down." And yet, there was that bow. The strange softness of a stranger's hands in my baby's hair. A quiet intrusion. A whisper of someone I hadn't met yet. I didn't cry. I didn't even yell. I just sat on the edge of the bed that night, staring at the baby monitor like it could offer answers. By morning, I'd stopped eating. I couldn't sleep without jolting awake. My brain kept circling the same phrase like it was written in fire. Someone's been in my house. With my child. And my husband is pretending they haven't. That's when I ordered the cameras. Only they didn't arrive in time. Because just 2 days later, I got the notification. A ring alert. Motion detected at the front door. I clicked the live video expecting a delivery truck or the neighbor's cat. Instead, I saw a woman I hadn't seen in 4 years. Holding my daughter's hand. Walking through my front door. Behind her, like it was the most normal thing in the world, was my husband and our other daughter. I dropped my phone. Literally. My fingers just let go. Because that woman? That was Jack's sister. His estranged sister. The one with a court order. The one he swore we'd never see again. The woman on the ring footage, Marla, wasn't just Jack's sister. She was a ghost I thought we'd exorcised years ago. An addict. An abuser. The subject of whispers at family gatherings no one wanted to repeat aloud. The last I'd heard, she was living 2 states away, barred by a court order from returning here unless supervised. Jack had been adamant about it. She's not safe, he told me once, voice low, almost guilty. Not for you. Not for the girls. And now here she was, walking into our house with the familiarity of someone who'd been there before. That's when it all slammed into place. The tampons, the hair bow, the onesie. It wasn't Fiona. It wasn't cheating. It was her. The woman he swore was out of our lives forever had been seeing my children, our children, behind my back. Secret visits. Under my roof. While I was at work, trusting him. The video ended, but my hands kept shaking long after. I tried calling Jack, twice. No answer. The third time, I texted. Who the F** is in our house right now? No reply. I called again. Voicemail. By the fifth missed call, he finally picked up. Breathless, like he'd just sprinted out of an excuse. It's not what you think, he said. I didn't scream. I didn't cuss him out. I asked him one question. Is Marla in our home? There was a pause. Then a reluctant sigh. Yes. But Lauren, listen, I didn't want to upset you. She's trying to make amends. My mouth went dry. You let her near our children, I whispered. She's clean now. He rushed in. She's been out of rehab for 6 months. She wanted to see them. You lied to me. You let her in our house. You let her hold our daughter's hand. Silence. That silence said everything. The months of gaslighting. The way he waved off the tampon like it meant nothing. The clip in my daughter's hair. Every time I felt insane, it had all been real. And worse than I imagined. I found out the rest later, piece by piece. Marla had been staying overnight while I was on business trips. She had slept in our bed. She'd watched the girls on nights when Jack claimed he dropped them off at his parents' place. She had bought them clothes. Bows. Onesies. Little tokens of her quiet invasion. And Jack? He helped her sneak in through the garage so the Ring camera wouldn't catch her. I couldn't breathe when I learned that. I was trying to protect you, he kept saying. I knew you'd freak out. Not protect me. Control me. Keep me in the dark. Let me question my own mind, while a woman with a documented history of abuse played dress-up with our daughters in the house I paid half the mortgage on. And now I had to look into his face and wonder how many other lies he told with that same casual shrug. But the worst part? The betrayal wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet. Intimate. Domestic. The kind of betrayal that seeps into your laundry, into your coffee mug, into the sheets you sleep in. I didn't scream that night. I didn't throw anything. I sat across from him and asked calmly, Did she leave those tampons for me to find? His face twitched. I don't know. But he did know. She wanted me to know she'd been here. That she'd touched our lives, our children, our home. That she'd taken something from me without saying a word. And Jack had let her. I asked him again, gently this time, like I was coaxing truth out of a stranger. Why her? Why not just tell me the truth? His answer? A shrug. She's family. So was I. The next few days blurred into a kind of haunted normal. Jack walked on eggshells. I walked around him. Our daughters, blissfully unaware, kept drawing in sidewalk chalk and asking for snacks like nothing had changed. And yet, everything had. Every room in our house felt smaller. The walls too close, the air too quiet. It was like Marla had left fingerprints on the doorknobs, on the baby monitor, on my life. I didn't confront her. I didn't call her. But I did check the local records. Jack said she'd been clean for 6 months. That was a lie. She'd checked into a treatment center, yes, but twice in the past year. The second time was only 10 weeks ago. Her release form wasn't even dry. And here's where everything snapped. I came home early from work that Thursday. I told Jack I had a client lunch. I didn't. I needed to breathe. To sit on my own couch without performing calm. But when I pulled into the driveway, his car was already there. It was 1:42 p.m. The front door was locked, but the garage was open. I walked in. Marla was at my kitchen island, wearing my robe. A pink mug from our wedding set in her hand like it belonged there. She didn't flinch. Just smiled. "Oh hey. Didn't know you'd be back this early." My legs went cold. I walked slowly, keeping my voice even. "Where are the girls?" "Down for a nap," she said. "They were fussy." I wanted to scream. Instead, I asked the only question that mattered. "Why are you in my house?" She set the mug down gently, like she didn't want to startle me. "Jack and I talked," she said, "and we think it's time to heal old wounds. The girls deserve to know their family. All of it. We talked. Time to heal." She spoke like she was their stepmother. Like this was her house now. Like I was the outsider. That's when Jack walked in from the backyard, saw my face, and froze. "Lauren," he started, hands half raised. "I was going to tell you." "She's living here?" I asked. "It's temporary." I turned to Marla. "You're staying here?" She smiled. "Just until I get on my feet. A couple weeks, maybe. Jack said you'd come around once you understood." That word, understood, was the final knife. Like this was a plan I'd missed the memo for. Like my reaction was the real problem. I stared at Jack, but he looked away. I saw it in his body. In the way his shoulders slumped, the way he rubbed the back of his neck. This wasn't a last-minute favor. This wasn't a just for today thing. This had been happening for weeks. She had toothbrush in the bathroom. Her coat hung on the hook by the door. One of my daughter's dolls, one I'd packed away, was sitting on the floor, wearing new clothes. Clothes I didn't buy. "I want you both out," I said, voice trembling. Jack blinked. "What?" "You and your sister. Out. Today. She's your family. She's your family. And you let her sneak through our garage like a burglar. You hid her. Lied to me. Gaslit me. Let her put her hands in my daughter's hair. Let her sleep in our bed." I looked at Marla. "You left tampons for me to find. You wanted me to feel crazy." Her face didn't change. I turned to Jack, the man I'd built a life with, who now stood there speechless while his sister smirked in my robe. "I want you both gone before the girls wake up." He opened his mouth. Closed it. But I was already walking upstairs. 10 minutes later, I locked the door behind them. Jack called once. I didn't answer. Marla didn't try. That told me everything. I didn't cry after I kicked them out. Not at first. I was too numb. The kind of stillness that comes not from peace, but from shock, that muted quiet after an explosion where all the sound has been sucked from the room. Jack and Marla left. I locked the door. And for the first time in weeks, I stood alone in my own house without wondering whose fingerprints were on my daughter's bows, or who had touched the couch I napped on every Sunday afternoon. But it didn't last. By morning, Jack was calling. Voicemails. Texts. Long paragraphs full of broken explanations that sounded like someone narrating a fire while throwing gasoline. "It wasn't like that. She's my sister. I was protecting you." Protecting me by hiding an abuser in my house? By letting her hold our daughter's hands, sleep in our bed, dress them in clothes I didn't recognize? I sent him one text. "You have 48 hours to find a lawyer." Then I filed for divorce. I wasn't scared. I was surgical. I pulled our financial records. I printed the doorbell footage. I brought screenshots, receipts, daycare logs. Every detail, every timeline. I wanted the judge to feel the betrayal, not just hear it. But custody, that was the war. Jack didn't go quietly. He insisted on joint custody, arguing that I was paranoid, emotional, not thinking straight. He threw out every cheap defense, that Marla was doing better, that I overreacted, that I was suffering from postpartum mood issues. 2 years after giving birth. He even tried to bring my therapist's name into court, implying I was unstable. But he underestimated something. The one thing I had that he didn't: proof. I had texts where he admitted to letting Marla stay without my consent. I had footage of her entering our house with the girls. I had medical records showing the court order against her was still active. I had character references from teachers and my sister. He had lies. And he crumbled fast under cross-examination. Every time he opened his mouth, it got worse. He couldn't explain the tampons. Couldn't explain why he hid visits. Couldn't explain why, if everything was so harmless, he'd spent months hiding it from me. In the end, the judge ruled in my favor. Primary custody. Supervised visitation for Jack. Marla was not to come within 200 feet of our children, court enforced this time. When the decision was read out, Jack looked gutted. But I didn't feel pity. Not anymore. He wasn't the man I married. That man would have fought for our family, not handed it over to chaos in a bathrobe. As we left the courthouse, my lawyer asked me quietly, "What was the moment you knew it was over?" I didn't even hesitate. When I realized she didn't need to be sleeping with him for it to be a betrayal. She was wearing my robe, in my house, and raising my babies in secret. That was all I needed. These days, the girls and I are good. Better than good. I bought new bedsheets. I got rid of every mug in the house and replaced them with a mismatched, joyful set of ones they picked out themselves. We wear bows now, bright, ridiculous ones I chose. And every time I brush their hair, I remind them gently, "You are safe. You are seen. You are loved." Because love isn't about blind loyalty. It's about protection, honesty, and never letting someone question their own sanity just to make your life easier. Jack made his choice. And I made mine.